Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode with Fertari. Today, we're going to be talking about sinus rhythm. What is sinus rhythm? So, sinus rhythm is originated in the sinus node in the right atrium of the heart. When you think about sinus rhythm, just think of it as the original pacemaker. This is exactly where the normal heart rhythm is supposed to start from. It is also known as the NSR. Just in case if you see NSR in your exam, or when you're reading or studying for your EKG exam or CCT or CRAT, NSR means normal sinus rhythm. So when we're talking about the heartbeat of a person, the major heartbeat starts from the sinoatrial node that is located at the right atrium, the upper chamber of the heart, right here, somewhere around here. So how can we identify that this is a sinus rhythm we're interpreting? First thing first, the rhythm. We need to ask the question, is it regular or irregular? It is always regular. Sinus rhythm is expected to have a regular rhythm. The rate is always expected to be between 60 to 100 beat per minute. P waves morphology. The P wave morphology asks the question, is there one P wave for every QRSs? Yes, one P wave per every QRS, and it has to be upright and round. Yes, P waves can be inverted, and that's when we talk about junctional rhythm, but that's another video. And the next question is, what is the PRI? The PRI is expected to be between 0.12 to 0.20 seconds. That's the PR interval. And the QR interval is supposed to be between 0.06 to 0.10 seconds. That's the expected one. So anything lesser than 0.06 can be considered to be narrow QRS, and anything wider than 0.10 should be considered wide QRS, depending on the situation. There's some QRSs that can be wide and bizarre, especially when it comes to ventricular rhythms. That's another video, that's another topic. But once we get there, I'll explain a little bit more. And the ST segment. Not a lot of people like to talk about ST segment when it comes to the normal rhythms, but I like to talk about it because in these exams, the EKG exam, the CCT, and the CRAT, they ask a lot of questions and sometimes it can be confusing. So just so you know, in a sinus rhythm, the ST segment is neither elevated or depressed. It's just normal. Okay? It's almost like the isoelectric line. All right? It's just normal. Don't think about it. Once you see an ST elevation, ST depression, take normal rhythm out of your head. Okay? So, what is a sinus tachycardia? So, you know, when you run up the staircase after you do a lot of exercise, or maybe when something scares you and you have this, rapid heartbeat, your sympathetic nerves is going off. It's going off. It's triggered. It's going off. Your heart is beating. Yes, you are experiencing sinus tachycardia. That could be a factor, or maybe medication, or maybe even underlying issue, health underlying issue could lead to sinus tachycardia. So, how can you interpret whenever you see an EKG arrhythmia? Like, how can you tell that it is a sinus tachycardia? These are how you find out. The rhythm is regular. So, if you check your R wave to R wave, it is regular. It is the same. The space between the R waves are consistent. There's no inconsistency. The rate is always between 100 to 150 beat per minute because it's just firing. Your heart is firing. It's going up. It's going off. Your heart is beating so fast. So it goes from 1100 to 150 beat per minute. There is always one P wave for every QRS, and it is upright and peaked. Upright and peaked. I'm sorry, upright and rounded. I'm sorry, upright and rounded. And the PRI also is the same thing. It's 0.12 to 0.20. And the QRI too should be between the same thing as the normal sinus rhythm. So the QRI is always 0.06 to 0.10. PRI is between 0.12 to 0.20. And there is no expected elevated or depressed ST segment. Like I said, if there is an elevated or depressed ST segment, we are talking about some ischemia or infection or injury, whatever it is. Yes, it's a problem. All right. The sinus block, which is also called the sinus exit block. What happens during this situation? The sinus node generates impulses, but it is not received by the atria. There is a block there. There's a block, so the atria is not receiving the impulse. So during that situation, during that time, there is no atria or ventricular depolarization. You're just gonna find like a very straight line. I'm gonna put a photo of an example there. There's just that. And a lot of times, sinus block and sinus arrest can be very confusing. Here's the difference. Sinus arrest is when the SA node does not produce an electrical signal. After pause, R to R wave doesn't match. While sinus block, the SA node is firing, but the electrical impulse is blocked from exiting the node of the atria. After pause, R and R wave matches. The rhythm is considered irregular. You'll be like, no, but yes, it is regular, but because of that huge pause between the two cycles, it makes it irregular. As long as there's one cycle that disrupt the regularity of a heartbeat, it is considered irregular. The heart rate varies, okay? The heart rate varies because you want to know how many of those exit blocks is going to show up. It depends on what's going on. It depends on the sinoatrial activities, what's going on there. And the more there is a lot of exit, it could become bradycardic. We'll get to bradycardia, okay? And the P waves are actually normal. They're upright and rounded. And another thing, let's not forget there is one P wave for every QRS. The PRI is also like the normal between 0.12 to 0.20. The QRI is also 0.06 to 0.10. No ST segment, no ST segment depression or elevation. If there is, then there's a problem. Let's quickly cover sinus arrhythmia or dysrhythmia. This generally is when the heart rate varies, it's very irregular, and this is due to inhalation and exhalation. So when you inhale, your heart speeds up, and when you exhale, it slows down. The rate is normal, like the NSR, it has normal P waves, normal PRI, less than 0.20, that's between 0.12 to 0.20. QRIs are narrow, lesser than 0.12 seconds, and it has a regularly irregular rhythm. And the contributing factor of this is because of the breathing pattern when you inhale and exhale. So it's regularly irregular. So its irregularity is regular. We will talk about irregularities over time, like atrial fibrillation. Let's talk about sinus arrest. What happens during sinus arrest? Sinus arrest can be considered a pause. The SA node is not firing, so there's no electrical activities going on. There's a long pause. But let's know how to find out the characteristics so that when we're reading it, we know exactly that this is a sinus arrest. First of all, what is the rhythm? The rhythm is irregular. It is regular until it's irregular. Once that pause appears, it's no longer regular. The rate varies. The rate varies due to the presence of that pause. P waves, they're supposed to be upright and round P waves. Upright and round P waves. And do not forget, one P wave for every QRSS. Once you see that one P wave for every QRSS, it's a sinus. It's sinus. It's sinus. Okay? One P wave for every QRS sinus. Okay? Could be sinus junctional, could be whatever it is, it's sinus. PRI should be between 0.12 to 0.20, and QRI will be 0.06 to 0.10. ST segment, no elevation, no depression. If there's a presence of ST segment, elevation or depression, consider ischemia, consider a problem. Call your provider, tell your physician, tell anybody. You got to tell your supervisor and let them know that. And the last but not the least, with the sinus rhythm, we're going to talk about sinus bradycardia. So when we say sinus tachycardia is when your heart beat super fast, like super fast, like beat super fast, so super fast. The bradycardia goes slow. It takes its time, it takes its time. And we're looking at a heart rhythm of 40 to 60 beat per minute. The rhythm is regular. The PRI is also the same thing. PRI should be between 0.12 to 0.20. QRI 0.06 to 0.10. P waves should be upright and rounded. And don't forget, one P wave for every QRI. Just have it at the back of your mind. Majority of the sinus rhythm have the same PRI and the QRIs. Okay, PRI and QRI are kind of the same. 0.12 to 0.20. QRI 0.06 to 0.10. Most of this sinus rhythm, tachy, dysrhythmia, bradycardia, block, and arrest has a P wave that is upright and round. One P wave for every QRSs has a PRI of 0.12 to 0.20, 0.12 to 0.20, 0.12 to 0.20 PRI. That. And QRI goes 0.06, 0.10, 0.06 to 0.10. Sing it in your head and never let it go. Till next time.